Yes, madam. We can start now.
Good afternoon to all and a warm welcome to you all for the webinar on a elementary formula to start a tech startup in India, opportunities and challenges organized by Internal Quality Assurance Cell and NCET Institute's Innovation Council. Innovation is creating a new value or capturing value in a new way. Ministry of Education, Government of India has established MOE's Innovation Cell to systematically foster the culture of innovation amongst all higher education institutions. The primary objective of NCET IIC is to encourage, inspire and nurture young students to create a vibrant local innovation ecosystem in the campus. To achieve this, we are organizing various innovation and entrepreneurship related activities prescribed by Central MIC in time-bound fashion. We also propose to organize hackathons, idea competition, mini challenges, etc. with the involvement of industries. MIC has envisioned encouraging creation of institutions innovation council across selected higher education institutions, and our college is one among them. In line with the objective set by NCET IIC, we are conducting this webinar on the theme Research and Innovation with a topic on a elementary formula to start a tech startup in India, opportunities and challenges. I welcome our chairman Shri J.V. Rangaraju sir, CEO Chaitanya Verma sir, COO Banu Chaitanya ma'am and Director NES Dr. S.G. Gopal Krishna sir. I cordially welcome our beloved principal Dr. Jitendranatha Mungara, who is the source of inspiration and strength to all our activities. It is a privilege to welcome you, sir. Hearty welcome, sir. I am delighted to welcome Dr. Mohan Kumar S., Professor and Dean IQAC. Hearty welcome, sir. I also welcome Dr. Yashwant N., President NCET IIC and the convener Professor Y.S. Balaji. Hearty welcome, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
I extend my warm welcome to organizing committee members IIC for their valuable contribution. I welcome all the HOD staff, participants and students to this webinar. Now I request Mrs. Archana ma'am, Assistant Professor, Physics Department, to introduce the guest speaker.
Thank you, Shruti ma'am. Good afternoon to one and all. It's my proud privilege to introduce today's speaker, Mr. Sunil Gowda R. Sunil Gowda R is currently working as a software engineer in a reputed company. Mr. Sunil never misses the opportunity to motivate the budding engineers and research scholars. He has an excellent track record in academics with many silver and gold medals. He has completed his BE with telecommunication engineering and awarded 33 silver medals and 1 gold medal in his academics. His area of interest includes communication network system. He also completed his post graduation in the stream of digital communication and networking. And he has been awarded as a Karnataka state rank. He also published 2 research articles and and two and 2 research articles in the international conference and 2 journals in the research articles. He is an outstanding academic performer. Today, he'll be speaking on research and innovation. Now I request Mr. Sunil to take over the session. Over to you, sir. Sunil, sir.
Thank you so much, Archana madam. Hello all.
Thank you, sir.
Before starting, please turn on your videos, all of you, so that we can have a screenshot of it for
Sure, sure,
documentation purpose. Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Thank you. We can proceed now. Yes, thank you, Sunil sir. Yeah, we can proceed.
Hello.
Yes, sir. You can please turn on the video and you can start the session, sir. Yes, sir.
Actually, there is a small correction, Archana madam. It's not a 33 silver medals, it's a 3 silver medal and 1 gold medal in academics.
Okay, sir. I got 33 in the.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
Sorry, that
Sorry,
might
sir.
be,
Sorry, sir.
it's my bad. Okay.
I wish
Hello.
you achieve 33 medals, sir.
Sure. Thank you.
So in the introduction provided, it was mentioned 33, sir.
Okay,
It's okay, ma'am. No worries. Huh?
Okay.
No
No
Okay,
worries.
worries.
sir. Thank you.
Okay. Hello all. Hope you guys are doing well in this pandemic situation. Please, everybody, stay safe and stay well. Try to get more connected with these kind of online sessions instead of having a one-on-one session like direct interface. Okay. Um, Today, I would like to thank all the coordinators of Nagarjuna College of Engineering, and a special thanks to Yashwant sir, who has given us the opportunity to explain what kind of research and innovation that we can think about it, especially in India. And we can try to start the startups. As you guys are young engineers, this is the right time to think and act upon it. Okay, so a special thanks to Yashwant sir. Thank you so much, sir, for providing me this opportunity.
Yeah, it's our pleasure, sir. Thank you for giving this innovation and research speech.
Sure,
Thanks for that.
thank you. Yeah, let's start directly to a session. Okay, let me share my screen. I think, guys. You guys could able no, just hold on. Can anybody confirm me once you guys can able to see my screen?
Yes, it is getting connected. Yes.
Okay, you guys were able to see my screen, right?
Yes, sir. If it is like, it will be good if you turn on your video. I think we cannot see you. It will be
Uh,
more interactive. Huh?
okay. The reason why, because the bandwidth it will take more if I turn on my
Haha.
screen.
Okay.
So that is the
Huh.
reason. At the end of
Yes.
the session, so that I can
Yes.
turn on my
Sure.
screen. Okay.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Okay. I think here all the engineering students like fifth sem, sixth sem, eighth sem, whatever the students are there, right? Or only
Yes,
it is
they are
particular
from
to only one sem?
yeah. All the semester students are there with
Okay.
from all the branches. EC,
That's great.
CS. Huh.
That's great. Okay. Okay. Hello, guys. How are you doing? So, any 2 3 students can say hi, or uh, uh, can I just introduce yourself? Some 2 to 3 students, so that it will be more interactive. Any 2 3 students, just say hi or say your name. That's it. You can unmute
Hello, sir.
yourself and you can speak. Hello, sir. Yeah. Your name?
My name is Jay Krishna, sir. I am from EC branch.
Hi, Jay Krishna. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Any other?
Hello, sir.
Hello. Yeah.
My name is Darshini. I'm from AC branch.
Hi, Darshini. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the confirmation. Yeah. Okay. Let's start with the session. Okay. Whatever the guys you have a doubt, you just make a note somewhere. Okay. Because basically I don't want to interact in between the slides. You just make a note of all the things so that at the end of the session we can have a quick question and answer sessions. Is it fine? Okay. So here, to come up with the idea of research and innovation, okay, I take up the concept called as car to car communication technology. Okay, so usually we are finding issues on the roads. Okay, that is only because of the accidents. Now, how the accidents is going to happen, it is basically for any other reasons. Okay, so before starting with this is my introduction. So I have already 4 years of experience in this uh, industry, and right now I'm working as a software engineer for connectivity and security in a reputed company. Okay, and basically I actively worked on this autonomous vehicle and creating more infrastructure messages for V2X, which is going to help to save our lives in future. Okay, and along with the positioning the vehicle with the respective standards, with the automotive standards. And the certifications that I have is right now IBNC CCNA program. When I say CCNA, it is not exactly with the Cisco CCNA certification. It is just a private company who conducted the CCNA program. In that, I got a CCNA certification. And the machine learning certification. And the accolades, if I want to speak about, I have achieved 1 gold medal in my academics and 3 silver medals. That is also in my academics. And I also awarded Karnataka state rank for my post graduation academics. And the a certification that I got from the industry is always keep motivated. So this is the best engineer certificate that I got from industry. Okay, and the motto for the life is please take, as you guys are young engineers, don't share hesitate to share your knowledge. Okay, always share your knowledge. It definitely it will come with 1,000 folds. This is what the motto of this session. Please make sure don't always hesitate to share your knowledge, whatever it might be. Okay. Yeah. Okay. From you guys, I want to know, what do you guys think about the road accidents? What any generic answer, any thing that you guys know about road accidents? What could be the option for the road accidents? The one thing is negligence of driver. Agree? Negligence of
Drunken.
driver. Yeah. And sometimes vehicle gone bad and we are not aware of it. We'll just take it for a drive. That could also be the reason about road accidents. Okay, so here is a picture shows how costly our life is. If you are traveling on the road, we have to be very, very, very careful. Okay, because even small accidents will cause our life to thousands of 1,000 times more than our life. So we have to be extra careful on the road. So any solutions for this, for this kind of accidents? Any solutions that we already have, or we wanted to think about it? Any solution so that we can try to avoid it? Guys, any solution, any one solution, how we can avoid
Slow
it?
driving.
Yeah, one. Sorry.
Slow driving.
Slow driving. Okay, perfect. Slow driving. Okay, you're doing a slow driving, but what about other vehicles who is driving very fast? Okay. Yeah, good answer. Slow driving. And other thing is the one thing that we know is it is because of the driver negligency. Correct. Sometimes driver get distracted. Agree. So here is the solutions for that. How we can avoid is basically car to car communication. Once the car is going to talk about with other vehicle, or you can just take it as a vehicle to vehicle. Once the vehicle is going to talk with other vehicle, then obviously we can try to avoid it. Correct. So for this, do we have any standards for this? Yes, we have the standards. So basically we call it as a SAE automation levels. What is this SAE is? Society of Automotive Engineers. Okay, so right now Tesla, I think you guys already know what Tesla is doing and what is a Tesla vehicle, all those things. Okay, see, they first of all, to get the autonomous vehicle, what is that? Autonomous means basically you're not going to touch your steering or nothing. Okay, it has to take to you the from source to the destination. That is how it should be. Correct. For that, these SAE guys, what they have done is they have come up with the levels. That levels are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever you're seeing on the screen. Now the SAE level 3. Okay, whatever you're seeing, the Tesla guys, though those people are in SAE level 3. That is conditional automation. What is this conditional automation? You are going to still manually accept something to do a automation. Okay, but once you go to this level, SAE level 5, then only we call it as full automation. Okay, when you achieve this SAE level 5, then it is something like you just type something like, okay, source from in Nagarjuna College of Engineering to let's say some other college, Don Bosco Institute of Technology or SJBIT. You can just type there. That is your destination. So your car should take you there. That is a full automation. Okay, if that is the case, okay, then avoiding accidents will be even more reduced. Agree? Because there is no manual interruption there. Okay, driver is not going to drive. Driver sometimes, he'll feel sleepy, he'll feel easily distracted. The one who is sitting next to him, okay, easily he'll get distracted. Okay, even that 1 second of distraction will cause your accidents. So to avoid all those things, it has to achieve SAE level 5. Now, what is this SAE level 5 is? It is going to directly talk with vehicles through a network. Okay, that is called as V2X mobility. In the further slides, I'll tell you what is this V2X, what are the consequences and problems for this. Okay, so zero automation is something that the manual car, whatever you see a Maruti 800 car, that is the manual car where you have to put a gear, where you have to turn, all those things. When you come to 1, 2 and all, so it is something like if you are not wearing a seat belt, it will show an indicator, man, wear a seat belt. Okay, and if you go for a high end, top end cars and all, right now we have a um, best example is FASTag vehicles. If you just paste that FASTag on the windshield glass, it will automatically deduct your money when you go to the tolls and all. So though, see, directly you can't achieve from 0 to 5. It is highly difficult. So that's why what they are doing is they are trying to take a step-by-step process to achieve this level 5. For example, if you put a reverse gear and if you are parking, now there is a indicator sound. Okay, it will give a beep sound if you are nearing to the obstacles. So those are all the levels that they are trying to achieve it in different stages, and finally they are here, level 5. Okay, so this is the SAE automation levels that you guys have to understand before having any innovation kind of thing, or see, from here to here you can't directly do innovation. It's highly impossible. So they have a level wise innovations, then you can able to achieve level 5. Okay, now what are the different technologies right now we have to achieve this kind of automation or autonomous cars? Okay, so we have different technologies called as DSRC, CV2X, V2V, V2C, VANET. So these are the technologies that right now we have, and we are using it for avoiding accidents. Now, this World Health Organization has come up with a list. What is that list? Approximately 1.35 million people die each year as a result of road traffic crashes. See, this is actually huge. 1.35 million every year losing their lives only because of road accidents. This is very huge. Correct? Agree? So these are the problems that we have to take up from the live environment, real time situations, our surrounding environment that we are facing. Then only we can innovate something new from that. What is the first of all, we have to identify the problem. Then you have to research it. Okay, what is causing? What is the problem that we have? Why we are failing to avoid the road accidents? Okay, now the WHO, World Health Organization, those guys always they'll do a survey kind of thing. Okay, and approximately, this is approximate number, it can go more than 1.35 million, or sometimes it may go less than that also. Okay, and see, this road traffic crashes, whatever is happening in the particular country and all, it is going to cost 3% of the GDP growth. 3% of a GDP growth is a huge, I say huge. 3% of a gross domestic product. Okay, now what are the risk factors that these guys are identifying is, one is speeding. Agree? Sometimes we'll be in a very what to say, we'll be in a very jolly mode. Okay, at that time we don't care about the speed. Okay, it may go to 120, 140, 160, and you couldn't able to control it if you want to put a hard brake or if some obstacle comes. Okay, then distracted driving. Agree for this? Yes, everybody should agree for this. Distracted driving is one of the dangerous thing. And unsafe road infrastructure. Yes, we have to agree for this. Unsafe road infrastructure, sometimes we don't know where is the road humps, where is the speed breakers, where suddenly there is a work in progress is going on, or where suddenly some vehicle, have you guys come across with this situation? Some lorry or truck on the highway, it will be stationary, and if you are traveling and we'll see that okay, that vehicle is moving, until unless we are very near to that guy, we won't able to get to know that that guy is standing, or it will be in a stationary state. Agree for this? That is because of the again, unsafe road infrastructure. First of all, those guys shouldn't station that vehicle there. Okay. And the other risk factor is again unsafe vehicles. Unsafe vehicles, agree for this? The vehicles are not fit to ride on the road, but still people are very negligible, and they're very negligible about their lives. Still they'll be riding the vehicles. Okay. And red light jumping, this is one of the, nowadays this has become a what to say, a trend, I would say trend, the jumping red light. Okay, that too I'm seeing in most of the young generation. If they jump this red light, they'll feel that they have did a very big innovation, or they have done very great thing to our country, kind of. Okay. And at the end of the time, they lose their lives. Okay. These are the risk factors that World Health Organization, they have identified this. Okay. As you are a young engineers, you have to take up these kind of problems, and you have to do in-depth survey. Speeding means what kind of speeding? Okay. And again, you have to do a lot of survey here. Hmm? Whether it is happening only in the top end cars, or whether it is happening in the normal mid variant cars, or the basic model. Okay. And so those kind of things. And again, when it is a speeding, whether can't we put a controller for the speeding? Yes, we can do that. So all those kind survey and all, you guys have to do it. So this, when you will do it, only once you have that thought, we have to do some research and innovation, we have to deep dive into that research. Okay. Then only we'll get some kind of idea, motto and all. Hmm? And again, same way for distracted driving, what kind of distractions, whether it is only just talking, or whether it is hearing to the music, okay, or listening to the music, or talking and driving, those are all distracted kind of drivings. Hmm? Okay. Now, as I told you, we have different kinds of technology. In that, which is very suitable for vehicle to vehicle communication, is DSRC. Okay. This is very interesting. Please, concentrate here. DSRC, the full form for this is Dedicated Short Range Communication Technology. DSRC, Dedicated Short Range Communication. Now, basically, it was first coined by USA. Okay. By some commission called FCC, Federal Communication and Commission. And what is it range? When it comes to range, what is it range? It ranges 350-meter radius. When I say 350-meter radius, obviously the diameter will be 700 to 800 meters long. Okay. Till that range, it is going to cover its proximity or visibility. Okay. Now, when you say a DSRC, what is the spectrum? What is the frequency that we guys uses? It is 5.850 to 5.925 gigahertz range. I want to spend some more time here when I say frequency. Okay, to understand this better, what I would say is, I would say, you guys know FM, right? FM radio. When you tune to 91.1, you'll get some data. Okay, somebody RJ is speaking, or they'll be listening to some music, those kind of things. And when you go to 91.2, you won't get any data. You'll get some cracky sound. Okay, you basically won't get a data. Okay, why? Because that is the station. 91.1 is the station that they have licensed it. Okay, 92.7, 101. So we have n number of frequency modulation. FM means basically a frequency modulated waves. So in the same way, within this range, 5.850 to 5.925 gigahertz range, we are going to tune ourselves. When we tune ourselves to 5.850 to 5.925 gigahertz, then only we'll get data of vehicles which is in and around us. Okay. So this was first coined by USA. Now, why the name came DSRC? Why it is only a DSRC? See, some committee, that committee called as FCC, they have worked together, and they have come up with, okay, man, something we have to do for this, avoiding the traffic accidents. When they came to that kind of situation, they told that okay, some technology should be there. Now when the technology, they only build this kind of technology, okay, we call it as DSRC. Now what is this DSRC? Dedicatedly will allocate some frequency for vehicle to vehicle communication. Okay, the primary motivation is basically to avoid the collision of the vehicles. Okay, now this DSRC is for V2X communication. Now when you guys ask what is this X, so X is something, okay, it involves all the other applications like V2V, V2I, V2P, V2N. I'll try to elaborate on V2V, V2I. What is V2V, what is V2I? This figure shows you, okay, this figure shows you what is V2V, what is V2I, V2P, V2N. V2V is something vehicle to vehicle. When the vehicle is going to send data to other vehicle, we are going to get through this V2V data. Now you want a V2I messages, right? Okay, I'll tell you how we can improvise here. Now when think like this, okay, you guys are going for a vacation with your family, okay, out of station. Okay, you take a highway and you are going, and you are seeing the signboards, right? You will see the signboards, okay, there is a school zone, please be mindful when you're driving. After some time they'll show, okay, there is a petrol bunk after 500 meters. So for example, if the driver misses that signboard, that's it, gone. He won't get it, he won't be notified again. Oh man, where is a petrol bunk and all, until unless the other signboard is plugged in after 1 kilometer or less than 1 kilometer. He won't, he'll be basically a blindfolded, right? He'll be very blindfolded, he won't get the data. For those kind of things, we have a V2I messages. V2I messages, it will take a nearby schools, nearby petrol bunks, nearby eatery shops, McDonald's, KFC or whatever, and it will take a nearest petrol bunk. I already told petrol bunk, right? Okay, so those kind of data and also it will go into collect, and it is going to send to the vehicles. Now what is this V2P? V2P is something pedestrians. See, as we are crossing the road, right, on the zebra cross, we just cross the road. Okay, at that time suddenly if the car is moving with a very high speed, we'll miss that data. So to avoid that, we have a vehicle to pedestrian. Now V2N, what is this V2N? It is directly connected to a server. So all our vehicles is going to connect to a server. That is what we call it as IoT, Internet of Things. All things are connected to internet, we call it as Internet of Things. Every things should have that capability or capacity to talk with the internet. Now how we can do that? Yes, obviously we have a Arduino board, Raspberry Pi board, we have n number of boards it is coming up. Okay, so if you connect it and if you just put it a IPv6 module in that, that's it, Wi-Fi module, it is going to connect directly with the internet. Based on the IP address, MAC address, we can able to exchange the data. Okay, so that level of innovation, if you want, yes, it is SAE level 5. As you guys saw in the previous slide, it is SAE level 5. So that's why they collaboratedly told that it is a V2X communication. Okay, X will replace this VIPN. Okay. Okay, now till now we discussed about the technology. Okay, now when it comes to applications, what are the applications that we have, or what are the applications that we could able to create it? So these are the applications we can able to create. I'll start from first. It is V2V safety applications. Now what is this V2V safety application? We have FCW, IMA, EEBL. Okay, let's think about a real-time situation. Okay, we are driving on a road, and the vehicle in front of you, okay, if he suddenly puts a hard brake, now tell me who's the mistake? Whether it's okay, after he apply a brake, you'll go and hit that guy. Now when it goes to a law matter, okay, now whose wrong is this? Whether the guy who is coming back, or the guy who applied a brake? The guy who applied a brake, he'll tell that, man, there is a huge obstacle here, how can I avoid it? I applied a brake. Okay, so these kind of debate will happen, right? Now at that time we couldn't able to judge it. It's all about the unusual mistakes that happened, right? So those kind of things, to avoid it, we have EEBL. This is the application we develop on the board. So emergency electronic brake light, he suddenly apply a brake, immediately you'll get a message to the other vehicle, okay man, that guy put a hard brake, please bind yourself. So we can able to control. correct? Now lane change warning, if you are in a one lane and you saw that, right? When you are driving in a highways and all, okay, some people, immediately change the lane, and they'll be very rashful in the driving. Okay, so when you're changing the lane, if the guy who is coming next to you, okay, he'll be notified, man, that guy is going to change a lane. Okay, so those kind of applications and all, they are going to develop here. Now FCW, forward collision warning, this is something, in the same lane, if two vehicles are traveling, think like this, and the one guy going with some 30 kilometer per hour, okay, the other guy who is coming back, okay, he'll be some 100 kilometer per hour. Obviously he's going to collide with that guy, right? If he won't change the lane, at that time he'll get a notify that, okay man, that guy is going with 30 kilometer per hour, don't go with the speed, or else you're going to collide. Those kind of warnings and all, it will be keep displaying on the HMI, that is a human machine interface, which will be the infotainment systems that you are seeing right now in the top end cars and all. You'll be seeing that screen, right? That's some for 4 inch 6 inch screen. You guys are gonna screen the uh, vehicles which is in front of you. Okay, and V2I application is something, if you have a hairpin curve, okay, and you couldn't able to see that until unless you are on that spot, correct? And if you are in a speedy, then obviously you're going to collide with other vehicles, or it may topple up your car. Okay. Now ice application, what is this ice application? If it's a huge rain, okay, heavy rain, and on the road it is too slippery, where if you apply brake also, you lose your ABS, you lose your traction control, everything you'll lose, and you finally going to hit with other vehicles. So for that, it will tell that ice warning ahead. Those kind of warnings and all, you could able to develop. As I told, pedestrian warning is something, if the pedestrian is crossing the traffic junctions or the lanes, okay, you're going to get a pedestrian warning. Speed compliance work zone is something that on the road, if some work is under progress, okay, if work is under progress, now you will get a message in such a way that, okay, work is under progress in another 1 kilometer or 100 meter, 200 meter, whatever. Okay, now red light violation warning is something, if you try to jump the way, traffic junctions, okay, prior to 300 meter or 400 meter, we are going to get a message that within next 2 seconds it is going to turn red. Then we can able to control our speed. No, within 2 seconds we can't able to speed up ourselves, so control our speed. So these kind of applications is really gonna help us to avoid the road accidents. I'm not saying 100%, at least 95 to 99% there is a chance that we can avoid it. Yes, we could able to do a debate on this. It means to say that, man, see, we are driving a car, and if warning comes, and again if the driver, he'll be, again very negligence, and he won't see that, if we keep driving, then it is a totally different scenario. That is on the different path, different platform only. If we take those kind of scenarios, in that case they are trying to mitigate that also. It means to say that it will automatically reduce the acceleration power, brake power, everything. So when you go to SA level 5 and all, it will be just like put source and destination, that's it, you sit aram se, it will drive to you from source to the destination, that's it. When it comes to level 4, level 3 and all, these kind of things will happen, right? It can happen, right? For example, if I'm driving the car, okay, notification, warning and all, it will be coming through a speakers, HMI, display, everything. But still, if I neglect it, hey man, I know how to drive, why you'll keep notifying me? Just shut your mouth. And if I keep driving, then it is other level of negligence, which we couldn't able to handle, and nobody could able to handle that kind of situation. At that kind of situation, yes, he's intentionally want to make a accident, he's intentionally want to die himself. Okay, so that is a different debate that we can put it in other platform, and we can think over it. Right now, these are the applications that we have for this, avoiding the traffic accidents. Now I'll just go one step deep for the architecture. Okay, as you guys are EC students, okay, I would suggest, why I took this architecture, I'll tell you before taking up the next slide. Why I took up this architecture, because usually what we guys do is, usually we guys neglect a lab, or if you have CCN lab or something in 7 sem or 8 sem, I really forgot whether it is in 6 sem or 7 sem. Usually we used to neglect it. Hey, that OSI model and all for only internal purpose. To be honest, okay. I saw the young engineers nowadays. I saw them very, very closely. Not everybody, okay. Most of the students, they used to study only for the internals purpose, and they used to study only for the interview purpose, okay. And finally they blame on parents or school colleges or their teachers. Finally they'll say that, okay, teacher didn't do properly, that's why we didn't get a placement. Nobody wants to take a blame on them, okay. That's why I took this architecture. I'll tell you the importance of the studies also here. Why? Because we guys, okay, most of the times we used to neglect to understand the levels or the layers, so then only we are going to be technically strong, okay. Then you could able to easily crack the technical round or whatever the rounds that we have when you sit for an interview to get a job, okay. See, when I go to this architecture, have you guys come up with the OSI model, open system interconnection model? Any one student, yes or no? I want one notification from you guys, from students especially. You guys know OSI model, open system interconnection model? If you guys be silent, then I'll think you guys don't know.
No, sir.
Okay. You are from which sem? Can I know?
Fourth sem, sir.
Okay, fourth sem. Okay.
6 sem people may have the awareness, sir,
Okay. Thank you.
regarding the OSI model. Yeah.
Thank you. Any 6 sem students? That is okay. I'm not going to ask any questions. Just you guys know OSI model. That's it. Okay. No problem. So in a 6 sem, you guys have a OSI model. See, I'll tell you how to understand this model so that it will be very, very helpful when you are in the industry level, when you are in the technical part of the industry. Okay, so this whatever you are seeing, this will correlate to the OSI model. OSI model basically they have a and guys who are there in second sem or fourth sem, you guys need not have to worry about it because your teachers is going to teach you when you go to the 6 sem. Okay, the OSI model, other things. So basically OSI model will be having a 7 layers, okay. Application, presentation, session, transportation, those kind of layers and all, okay. When you come here, physical layer, okay, and MAC sublayer extension, okay, LLC sublayer, network layer, and safety applications layers. Now, what is this physical layer? When you come to physical layer, it is something that if you want to connect from your PC to the any of the device, whether it can be Arduino board or Raspberry Pi board or whatever, what you guys will do? Either you're going to connect a Ethernet cable. You guys know Ethernet cable, right? Ethernet cable from your PC to the device, or nowadays what we are doing is Wi-Fi, correct? If you just click a button, it is going to interact with other device and it is going to interact with that. Okay, so the physical layer, whatever you guys are seeing, that is a hardware connection. Okay, how we are going to connect it. Okay, now how to understand the physical layer MAC sublayer? We have a IEEE 802.11p. What is this 802.11p? Basically for a Wi-Fi, whatever the Wi-Fi that you guys are using in your mobile, that has to adhere some standards, right? Because different mobile, OnePlus and Vivo, Redmi or whatever, okay, everybody use the same standards so that if you switch on just a Wi-Fi, it is going to connect with other devices. Now, to follow that, Wi-Fi is having a standards called as IEEE 802.11n. Now, what is this P? This P is they have modified from 802.11n to P. Modified means they have added some more features for this and they have told that, man, use this kind of standard for, especially for vehicle to vehicle communication. Vehicle to vehicle communication, we call it as IEEE 802.11p. Okay. Now, when you go to MAC sublayer extension or LLC sublayer, these two layers is going to follow the 1609.4, which is a multi-channel operation. Okay, you'll understand even better when you go to a further slides. Okay, now network and transport layer, how we are going to transport it? how we are going to transport from here to from one place to other place, how we are going to transport those kind of information, you will get it in IEEE 1609.3. Now when we are developing some application, when we are developing something, okay, we have to go through the standard first.
Sir, there is a disconnection in the voice of your voice.
Oh, sorry.
It is
Now
not continuous.
Oh, is it?
Hello?
No. Hello.
Am I audible, Sunil sir?
Yeah. You are audible. What about me?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay. Shall I continue?
Yes,
I
sir.
think my internet is so slow. I'll
Could be. Okay. Should I wait, sir? Should I wait to connect it back for you to connect?
Sir, you can continue, I think, sir.
Okay. Thanks. Okay. When you go to a network and transport layers, okay, so you from source to destination, how we are going to transport the packets, that again depends on whether TCP or UDP. You guys already know what is TCP and UDP. TCP, it's basically how we are going to see different ways of transporting. Okay, I'll give you a better example to understand. From your place to your friend's place, if you want to go, either you can choose three things. One is either by car, either by vehicle, either by using a public transportation, either by using a bicycle. Okay, so now it's your choice which one you have to take. Some people will prefer to take public transport, some people will prefer to go by car. So those kind of things, right? So in the same way, in the transport layer also, they have come up with whether you can transmit through TCP or UDP. These are the protocols. TCP is nothing but transport protocol, okay, and the UDP is nothing but user datagram protocol. Now, what is the difference between these two things? TCP is basically, it is going to transmit. Okay, it don't care about the destination. It will just transmit, whether it go or not, it don't care. When it come to UDP, it's a high level knowledge that I'm giving on a UDP. UDP is something you transmit until unless you get a notification from that guy, okay, that destination. It won't transmit a message or a data. Now you guys can think over it whether I can use TCP or UDP for your projects or for your research. Okay, now when it comes to network layer, IPv6, as you guys know, IPv6 is for Wi-Fi. When it comes to IPv4, it is through Ethernet cable. Okay, now obviously we need security, right? Yes, we need a security. Why? Because their kind of a spoofing will happen, or the third party will easily hack the data. Nowadays it has become a very huge cyber crime. Okay, so that is why we have a security service. These security services, we can able to get it from IEEE 1609.2. From this paper, we have to analyze it. We have to take whatever it is required for our research, then only we can put it here. Okay, whether it is a ECDS algorithm, or whether it is a 256 SSL bit kind of security that we are going to give. So those kind of things and all, we are going to get it from 1609.2. Okay, now we need the communication language, right? As a human being, see, we have different kinds of languages that we can able to transmit. One is English, Hindi, Kannada, Telugu. So those kind of languages that we have. So in the same way, for vehicle to vehicle interaction, we have these two things: SAJ2735, SAJ2945.1. These are the two protocols that every vehicles should adhere, so that then only the other vehicles is going to take it. Yes, okay, man, this guy is sending this data. Yes, I have to take it. So this kind of exchanging of data will happen only if you adhere to this standards, SAJ2735 and J2945.1. Now, on top of this, see, this is basically think something like this. You wanted to build a house. Okay, how will you build? The same way the research and innovation will happen. Yes, first of all, if you want to go to the fourth floor or fifth floor, okay, to see the other parts of the area, first of all, you have to do this kind of research. That research is something you have to go through these papers. Then you have to understand what is the technology right now they have, what and all the things that we can able to implement. if you want to build a house or something, first of all you have to build a basement, right? If you want to build a basement, you have to analyze what kind of stones that we have, what kind of cements that we have, what kind of a gauge of steel or iron that we have right now, and what are the things that we can put it here. So all these things we have to do a groundwork, then only we can able to innovate with the different methods. Okay, so now you implemented all those things. Yes, for physical layer this should be the architecture. Now for Mac and LLC this should be the architecture. Now for network and transport this should be the architecture. Now after writing all these things, now whatever the applications that you guys want, for example, as I already told, FCW, IMA, EEBL, so those kind of applications and all you can build on top of this. Now how we can build these applications and all, that is a different scenario. We should have a patch kind of thing, and you have to create and you have to write a code and you have to put it on top of it. Okay, and you have to check whether it is working or not. So those kind of things and all we have to do it. Okay, this is the high level architecture that I have given. Why I told you this? Because this will help for your research and development. So always I'll tell you guys, the research and development or the research and innovation, it won't happen just like this overnight. It will happen. No, you guys have to understand the base level of the diagrams, base level of the standards that we have right now, and what are the other things that we can do out of this. That is how it should be. Okay, now this architecture will help for you guys for a 6 sem or a 7 sem or 8 sem students to understand or correlate between, yes, whatever we are studying, the same thing in industry also they are applying, but we have to understand in a technical way how they are putting, how they are using, what is TCP, what is UDP, what will happen when we send a packet with TCP, whether we get acknowledgement. Oh, without acknowledgement, then how we get a notification, okay, whether it is went or not. Usually we say, right, hey man, once you reach for your friends and all, you'll tell, right, if you're very caring and all, hey, once you reach home, you just give me a call, you just put a message. So that is called UDP. That level of understanding you have to come, then only you could able to build something new. Okay, so what I would suggest you guys is, when you are in a lab or something, okay, don't take it as a what do I say, options. Oh man, only for 25 marks, 30 marks you have to just write it and come out. No, I'll tell you one more scenario why we should not neglect, why we should not take it as a granted. Because see, I think in most of the labs, in EC labs especially, we have attenuators, right? Correct? Attenuators, yes, we do have attenuators. Now attenuators, we just know it will just block the signals. If you put attenuators to the antenna port or antenna position, it will just block all the signals. It won't receive anything. It will become a isolate. It will be like a quarantine. Okay, nobody will disturb that device. Okay, the signals in and around, it won't attract to that. So now you guys have to do a research on top of attenuators there. So right now we have 30 dB, 50 dB, 25 dB, 10 dB, these kind of attenuators we have. Now you have to go to the other level and you have to research, that is called as digital attenuators. Right now we have a digital attenuators. If you just type 50 dB, okay, 50 dB attenuation level will be there. Okay, signal to noise ratio levels. So why I'm telling all this, because as and when you guys keep on studying for your exams or to score good marks, it's the same way you just prepare for the technical parts also. If some as a 8 sem or 7 sem students, EC students, if somebody comes and tell you, man, can you explain TCP, can you explain me UDP, okay, can you explain me what is this Wi-Fi protocols that we are using, what is the standards that Wi-Fi is taking up. If you go to these kind of standards, you'll try to get the knowledge. Okay, and then you can sit with your respective professors and you can discuss about it, so that you'll get even more different ideas that, okay, we can do this. Correct? Okay, I think it is more on this architecture. Okay, now when I say we have this kind of frequency, okay, obviously we need the channels, right? We need a channel. Yes, what are the channels that we have to send the data? We have 172 channel, 174 channel, 176 channel, 178, 180, 182, 184. Now what is this channel? This channel is something, again, this is going to divide into different slots. Okay, 5.855 to 5.865 gigahertz, you will get this much bandwidth to send the data. Now the critical safety, now you guys can able to decide, man, now we'll dedicatedly keep one channel for safety applications. Now what are the safety applications? FCW, hard braking, those are the critical safety applications. So for that you have to decide one channel. Okay, let it be 178 or 180. So now US guys, this is basically a US architecture. Okay, US guys are using this. US guys are using this 178 channel to transmit critical safety applications. Now, sir, what about other channels that we have? Yes, for other channels, we are going to send a vehicle to infrastructure messages like school ahead, okay, school zone ahead, and petrol bunk. So those kind of messages and all we are sending in one channel, and hospital, and so we can basically we can use these channels for whatever the message that we think. Okay, now you guys can think about yourself when you're driving a car. Okay, so what are the difficult situations that you came up? Okay, sometimes you felt that, okay, accelerator, when you put a hard acceleration, okay, sometimes you may lose the control of your steering. I don't know how many of you guys observed it. Okay, if you put a hard acceleration, okay, after some time you sometimes you may lose that steering position. Okay, so those kind of data, other things and all, you can send it through this channels. Now this channels is being divided by a commission. Okay, these are the frequency that you have to use it. Okay, now reserved, as you guys know, reserved is something for a future purpose. For usually when they're planning something, always they'll plan in such a way that something we have to keep it as a reserved. I think you guys have come up with a reserved slot or a reserved some frame formats will have reserved data. Why they keep this? Because going forward, we don't know, after some implementation of plan and all, we may go under some other changes. At that time, we should not touch this, we should not alter this. Anyway we have this reserved, use it. So that's why always reserved will be there. See the planning. See here, you'll understand one more concept called planning. Planning, how you have to do is, okay, you should not utilize from first to last. No, you have to keep it as some reserved things. Then only you can able to adopt a new changes, if in case going forward coming years, if you get it. Okay, now the communication language for a vehicle to vehicle is, as I already told, SAE J2735 and SAE J2945. What is this SAE? As I told you, it is Society of Automotive Engineers. Now, basically, this J2735 is a DSRC message set dictionary. So, for this DSRC, what and all the messages that you guys want, all these things and all, will put it in this dictionary. Now, if so, you guys can ask, sir, why this J2735 is required? Okay, I'll tell you. Now, for example, in your class, okay, now you guys decided that, okay, man, I have to develop a solution for this accidents. Okay, to avoid the accidents, to avoid road clashes. Now the other guy, he's also come up with a different solution. Yes, now I also have to work on this. See, everybody can work on this, right? And everybody can come up with their own solution, different way of concept, other things and all. Now when they're coming up with, now what, see, some for this, some consortium should happen, okay, in and around your college, or in and around your department. Okay, some head consoles should be there. Okay, now those guys will tell that, okay, man, you give your data, you give your data. Now if I put all your devices on the road, okay, if it try to interact with other vehicles, how it will interact? Because you have done with a different kind of language, and she has done with a different kind of language. It should not be, right? Everybody should follow the same language, that is SAE J2735. In this, basically, those guys will give the document. If you are developing this map message, if you are developing this BSM, basic safety message, you guys have to take this data and you have to put it in your developing creature. Then only we could able to interact more. So that is why it is basically like a consortium. Okay, now what and all will be there in this SAE J2735? If you're curious about this, basically it is called as basic safety message. Okay, now in this there is a two parts, part 1 and part 2. Now this part 1 will have all the basic vehicle information, okay, which is very mandatory. So you can see here, part 1 is mandatory. Part 2 can be it can be based on the OEMs or based on the manufacturers, but part 1 is mandatory. Man, I want all these datas, which is very much required. You have to give me all this data from your application. Okay, part 2 can be it's again, it depend on you guys, okay, whether if you want event flags to be enabled, path history, path prediction, okay, all these things, if you want, you can put it in a part 2. Now this is the high level or the basic level of SAE J2735 document. Now for you guys, as you guys are not exposed to industry, how it will work, how this 88802.11 will work, you guys are not exposed to the industry. For you to make very clear picture, okay, I've come up with this kind of diagram. Sorry, this kind of diagram. What does this diagram says is, now sir, first you told vehicle to vehicle, okay, it's going to communicate. How we are communicating? To communicate, we are using these standards. Basically, I'm consolidating whatever I told till now. So to communicate, first of all, we have to have IEEE 802.11 and IEEE 1609.3. Okay, that is basically a network service. Which network you guys have to use it, and what are the language? Obviously, it should have some language, right, to understand. Computer language for computers, human language for humans. For this also, we should have some language, right? That language is SAE J2735 and J2945 is the language that we are using. Now, how we are going to trust each other? Obviously, there should be some trust, right? In our relationships also, we should have some trust. Then only we could easily trust, okay, that guy, whatever he is telling, that is true. So in the same way, whatever the data that this guy is sending to this guy, we should enable, right? Yes, this message is coming from this guy only. For that, we are using 1609.2. That is security service. As you can see here, this is for security. Once this guy will create a data, and it is going to wrap it up or encrypt the data, and it is going to send it. Now this guy will decrypt it based on this standards 1609.2. okay, so this is for high level understanding. And how many people are talking in the room? For example, you are here and 100 vehicles are surrounded. Okay, that how we are going to tackle it, how we are going to manage it, that will be there in 1609.4, which is a multi-channel operations. In a multi-channel operations, if the data are coming, how to handle it, how to consolidate it, how to track it, and to give a warnings. So this is basically, I'm consolidated all these things in the single diagram, and I'm putting here, okay, for you guys to understand how we are communicating, how the language are, excuse me, how many people are talking, and how we can trust each other. Okay, this is the communication things. Okay, till now, whatever I told you, this is there in different parts of the world. That is, in China it is there, and in USA it is there, and in what did I say, Europe countries, it's all, when I say it is there, it is implementing. Okay, by 2000 I'll tell you, by 2023 or 22 in US, all the vehicles will talk each other, and it is going to communicate each other, and it is going to travel it on the road. They have their deadline. The US government have their deadline that by 2023, okay, their level of POC, that is proof of concept, is in such a way that by 2023, no matter what, it should be there. Now this technology, they keep working from several years, from 5-6 years, it's already there, and they keep working on it. Now they are trying to achieve it. Now comes research and innovation for you guys. Now, sir, first question, it's already there in your thought is, sir, car to car communication or vehicle to vehicle communication, it's already there. Now, what is the research, or what is the innovation that we can do it here? What is the thing that we can try it out here? What next, what level that we can take our Nagarjuna College of Engineering to other level, in such a way that we can also capable as a university guys, we are also capable to develop this kind of technology. Yes, in India right now, we don't have this kind of technology. And I'll tell you the complications or the problems that we are facing right now to implement this in India. First and foremost thing everybody should agree, and even the government should agree, is our roads are really very bad in some parts of India. Agree? Yes, we have to agree for this, because in and around only we saw, okay, there are no tar roads. Okay, some will be a cement roads, some will be a tar roads. Okay, so it is basically a total variant that we can see in entire India. Okay, first and foremost things, we have to improve our infrastructure. Okay, the second thing is, that is the most important and high priority thing, that we have to take care about the infrastructure in India. Our infrastructure should be in such a way that when we are developing, when we are innovating something new, we have to adhere to all the standards that we have on the road. I'll tell you the best example. Basically, I'm not comparing India and USA, but I'm trying to put it in such a way that how the nation is coming up with their challenges is, in USA, okay, 3.66 meter one lane means 3.66 meter width for entire USA. Wherever you travel, it will be 3.66 meter itself, and it should be, and it is. The streets and all is different. Don't compare with the streets. Streets is totally different. It is not compared as a road. Streets, and again, streets also, they have the standards. One point, honestly speaking, I forgot. I don't know the width of it, but the roads, when I say 3.66 meter, it is a one lane. One lane should be 3.66 meter. Now, it is very easy for us to develop these kind of things. Why? Because we can take a range. We can tune our sensors. We can tune our radars in such a way that, man, within the 3.66 meter, if you are getting some data, some obstacles, give me the obstacle, warning. And apart from that, if it is coming, don't care about it. Why? Because it is a pedestrian, or it is a parking lane, or it is a walking lane. Those kind of things. So here in India, first of all, we have to improve our infrastructure. Then only we could able to create it. Now, sir, what we can think about as a young engineers, as we are EC students, as okay, I don't want to take EC students. Let it be engineering students. As a young engineering students, what is the thing that we can put it here as? First of all, we could able to, okay, create this kind of environment in and around our college, in and around our university. We can develop the roads in our university itself. We can make use of our ground. We can make use of our campus itself. Okay, try to get the data from other vehicles. Okay, how it is going to interact. These kind of things you guys could able to start. Okay, then yes, obviously we can put it in front of the government that, see, man, if we do this, okay, we could able to avoid the road accidents, and government will fund to us. Yes, this guy, this college, Nagarjuna College of Engineering, is doing something great. Okay, we'll fund it to this. Okay, and it will give a project in such a way that, okay, you guys come up with a product. You guys can come up with a technology. You guys put it in a sheet that, sir, we need this frequency, this level, all these things and all we need. Then only we could able to develop it. Then they'll give, next level is they'll keep giving the areas. Okay, you develop this kind of environment in this area. Okay, in and around Chikballapur, or near to your surroundings. Then you as engineers, we could able to develop, and we can able to show to our government. Okay, I'll tell you, there is a university called University of Michigan. Okay, usually US governments, how they'll give the funds, or how they'll give a projects, is through this kind of universities. They won't come up with the industry, it will be later. First they'll give a project to this university. These guys will sit and they'll work on this kind of things. Engineers, young engineers still, who is studying, all those people will sit and they'll create a environment like this, and they will give a problems to industry. Now the industry guys have to solve it and give it to a university. See, I agree that some places, or some time we may get stuck. At that time we can take a industry help. Man, we stuck here, what is the solution that we can get it, or what is the different things that we can do it? So for you guys, sorry to say this, many of the engineering students, okay, when it comes to project, Okay, the biggest challenge that those guys are facing is, first of all, they won't think themselves. The first and foremost things, what they'll do is they'll rush to private companies. I saw very closely. I saw that. Okay, first and foremost things, the students will just rush to the nearest private institutions and they'll say, "Man, I want a project. You do it and give it to me." Some they'll charge some 15,000 or 20,000 or whatever, and they'll pay. They'll be aram say chill out with the friends. Aram say they'll go out and they'll enjoy. So and finally they'll struggle to get a company. So there your research will go down. Research where it will start is it will start from your project level, your internship level only it will start, and it has to start from there. Okay, I'll tell you, try to do the in-house projects, try to come up with the own idea. See, I'll tell you, this traffic itself, you guys could able to create, okay, n number of modules, n number of solutions, problems is there. Try to give solutions for each and every problem. That will be your project. If 10 guys are giving a 10 solutions and 10 models is out of your university or your college, then that would be a even more great, right? Okay, so now you guys have to think and work on this traffic road accidents. Why I told this technology? Because this is the part that we can able to concentrate here as India. Still we don't have this facilities. Okay, so we can able to develop it. How we can develop it is only happens through a college or a university. Seriously, I'll tell you, nothing is happening from industry. Okay, from university level, from college level only they are getting the projects and they are identifying that, okay, oh, these are the problems that these guys are working. From there they're getting problems and they collaboratively they're working. Okay, as you guys are young engineers, you can take up this concept. Okay, first you take two Arduino boards, two Raspberry Pi boards, and try to understand how it is communicating when you fit onto the car. Now, how you have to think is, obviously you need an antenna to interact. Now you guys have to go in depth in antenna, whether you have to use monopole antenna, whether you have to use dipole antenna, whether you have to use parabolic antenna. So we have n number of antennas. Okay, which antenna frequency will be more, which antenna is having a less signal to noise ratio, which antenna is having more axis rolling capacity. So all these things and all, you have to sit and work together. And for antenna itself, we can come up with a new idea. Okay, right now you are seeing the antenna on the car, right? It will be very straight, and some in top end cars, we are right now we are seeing a shark fin antenna. It will be like a shark fin. Okay, so how to communicate? So those are the basic levels that you guys can start work upon it, and you guys have to collaboratively work. It is not only one guy has to work, two guys has to work. No, you guys have to sit, you guys have to work. So basically your aim should be, from our college we have to give a POC, that is called proof of concept, to a government of India, or first basically a government of Karnataka. Okay, yes, there is a platform that if you are as you are engineers, if you are ready to show up the concepts like this, yes, government is ready to fund. So that level of innovation, if you want to build, first of all you have to do a research. What kind of research? Yes, take up this simple concept. Actually it's not a simple concept, it's a huge concept, but for you guys, take up the simple parts from this road accidents, and you guys just think. Okay, when you're traveling on road, when you're traveling on a bus, you guys just think about yourself. Okay, what is the mistake that happened on the road? You guys usually see, right? Okay, what is the accidents in and around your area and all. Okay, try to analyze that. You'll get the research there, you'll get the problem there. Okay, that guy brake failure, why the brake failure? Okay, whether it is a wear and tear of the brake, or whether it is a driver mistake. So these kind of research if you do, you will get an idea what kind of things that I can put it over here. Then you guys can come up with a research. Do the research. If you take antenna, do the research. If you take a Wi-Fi standard, do the research. What is the different Wi-Fi standards that we have? Okay, if you take a CVTX, cellular based, okay, what is the range that we have? What is the frequency level? That level of understanding if you guys have, you guys can able to create your own startup. Seriously, I'm telling you, based on this V2X and so many nowadays especially, okay, nowadays so many startups is coming up. So many from so many startups we are getting ideas that, okay, why can't we do like this? those kind of things and all we're getting. Okay, so this is all about car to car communication, which will save our precious lives. Okay, this we can try to implement in India also. Okay, try to work on this. At the end of the session, I've given my contact details. You can reach out to me if you have any doubts, or I'm always happy to help engineers. I'm basically right now training some 150 engineering students regarding their aptitude skills, how to get a company. So all those things and all I'm doing from my side, and it is helping them also. Okay, along with this giving ideas to their projects. Okay, many of the students are getting ideas. Okay, how we can develop the idea. Basically, I'm not giving the idea. Okay, sorry to say this. Basically, I'm giving inputs for them like this, so that they can think over it. Yes, we can do like this, right? Yeah. Okay, now we can do like this. Yeah, by taking the inputs, they are doing it. Okay, so this is all about car to car communication. Okay, now you guys could able to ask your questions. Over to you guys.
Yeah, students, please ask any questions related to research and innovation. Sir has explained very well regarding vehicular communication, vehicular movements and everything. So if you have any doubts, you can please ask him.
Please guys, don't hesitate to ask your doubts. Please ask as many doubts as possible, whether it is very silly small doubts, that is not a problem for me, but you should be able to clarify your doubts. Then only the session will become a success. That's what I usually say at the end of the session for many of the sessions whatever I've given. Please ask your doubts, unmute. Okay, please ask your doubt, whatever you understood, whatever you have a doubt, or those kind of things.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. This is Srinivas.
Yeah, good
I'm
afternoon.
assistant professor, sir, from EC department.
Yeah, hello, sir.
Yeah, sir. It was a good presentation, sir.
Thank you so much.
Sir, actually, like each whatever the automotive, say like car, whatever it has been designed now, they are designing with the ECUs, electronic control units.
Yes.
So how, like again, there is a network to network communication between these units in a car. Say like whatever the car which now we are using, there are around 100 ECUs installed in it.
Yes.
So like how good, like it's a complicated process.
Yes, how they're going to communicate with the networks.
So as you said, there is a V2X. So I heard like there is a CAN, controller area network kind of similar kind to this. So how good, which is simpler, and how good like the result should be better one, which can be used for it.
Okay, good question, Srinivas. Thank you so much for asking that. Okay, to make you guys understand about this question, I have to go little in depth about this concept. Basically, in a car right now, we have n number of ECUs. When I say ECU, it is basically a electronic control unit, ECU. Okay, it is mentioned like this. Now, to make you guys even more understandable, for example, you have see the power window, right? If you just power up, it will window will go up. For that particular thing, they have one ECU. Now, for a windshield, you have that wiper, right? For that, we have one more ECU. For everything, for infotainment, to control your stereo items and all. Now we have so for every activities that you do on a car, for steering, they have one ECU. For acceleration, for brake, they have one ECU. What does this ECU means? ECU means basically whatever the action that you perform, okay, that is going to convert it to a signals. Whatever the action that you are doing, that is a mechanical action. That mechanical action is going to convert it to a signals. Okay. Now that signal is going to give it to a ECU. Now this ECU is a master. Now it is going to give it to a slave. There is a master and slave concept. Now whatever the data that ECU got it, that will be sending to a slave, and the slave will act upon it, and it will raise the window. and again the signal is going to convert it to a mechanical action to motor, and the motor is going to take it up to a other level. So now this is called as ECU. Now as we have n number of ECUs, now this n number of ECUs are working independently, but it has to connect to a single line that is called as CAN. CAN is nothing but a controller area network, which is traveling all over the car. Okay, all over the car we have a huge wire, huge length wire, like 40-meter wire. Okay, that 40-meter wire is going to connect to all the ECUs. From the ECU, they're going to plug into the CAN. Now, what is this CAN is going to do is, this CAN is going to connect to a power supply. Yes, if you saw that if you open the bonnet and all, you will see the battery, right? The battery is going to connect that. From that, it is going to given to the entire line of the wire. Now, from that entire line of the wire, all the ECUs is going to take the power, take the communication, all these things will happen. Now, whatever Srinivas sir asked, how this ECU is going to communicate with the network, don't you think that it is very complicated? Yes, actually it is very complicated to do this, but the ECUs right now, I'll tell you, going forward we will be having a virtual ECU. When I say virtual ECU, there will be no hardware connected. Okay, that level of innovation that they are doing now in the ECU. What they're trying to do is, they're in the ECU they're putting a Wi-Fi module chips. Okay, or even better, what they're trying to do is, from the ECU they're taking up the line and they're putting to the CAN, where all the communication is happening through the two lines. Okay, from that, whatever the data that they got it, they are sending over the air through antenna. Now, when you say, sir, why we need a power window data to other vehicles? Yes, it is not required. It will just take it, but only a critical data it is going to take it, and it is going to send through the antenna. Now, sir, whatever you have asked, Srinivasan sir, whatever you have asked, all the ECU is not required to take the data and put it over the air. Correct? For that, the outside environment, it will capture through radar, through the sensors, it will capture, and it is going to send the data, packet themselves, and it is going to send it. I think I answered your question.
Usually, like what? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So usually all the ECUs, they are like treated as modules now, sir.
Correct.
So they'll communicate to each other.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
So say like the airbag,
yes.
like whatever the airbag or the sensors, reverse parking sensors. So will they use a common kind of language to all these ECUs, sir?
Yes. Yes.
Like
so
to communicate.
Obviously, as I told you, the CAN wire is going to run over the car. Okay, under the chassis or somewhere, it's going to run over the car. Now, the ECU is going to put their data. For example, if some data comes, okay, it is as I told you, it will convert it to a signals. When I say signals, it is binary 0 or 1. Okay, 0 or 1 data. And when I say CAN, in the CAN they have a frame format. Okay, if 0 means what, 1 means what. Okay, if it goes to a dominant, if it goes to a recessive bit, means what. Okay, this is understandable by that. Yes, whatever you asked is correct. It is following a standard called as CAN frame format. Okay, if you guys just Google it, CAN frame format, you'll understand the frame format. What is the acknowledgement? What is exactly data that you are putting? Yes, those data and all 0 or 1s, and they're putting it and they're sending over the CAN lines. Now, whichever the ECU it want to take it, it will just take it and it will do the things.
Okay, sir.
Sir,
I think what is the level in currently in?
Yeah.
What as you were saying, there are different 5 levels.
Yes.
So maybe in the US it is still in the 3rd level. Yeah.
Correct.
So how about in our country, sir? How good is it in our implementation?
Once again, a good question. Right now we are in between 1 and 2. Okay, how 1 and 2, how we can identify this means, okay, right now in the reverse gear, if you apply a reverse gear, it will start giving a beep signal. Okay, and what are the things that I can say? On the screen, on the meter board, you'll able to see the things, right? That seat belt is not weared, or front door is not opened. Okay, and back door is not opened. Those are all the levels which is going to help. See, why they are using those data is because going forward, if they connect to a network, all these data are required. Why? Because if you open the door, now the car should not start, the ignition should not start. Those kind of data and all they want. So that is why they are keep implementing in each and every levels when they're going to build it, so that they can try to achieve to the level 5.
Okay, sir. So it will be a challenging to get into the level 5 then.
It
The
will
country,
be
you said there are many limitations in our country.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Because you just think, okay, you just think like this. Okay, if you put source and destination, okay, obviously your roadside or road infrastructure should also support. For example, if you have 80 feet road in one side, and after going, if you get very congested road, then it will be very difficult. Then it will be like even more dangerous than the situations. Agree? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah. That's the main, I think, drawback.
Correct. Yes.
The roads and the road structures, whatever existing in our country right now, it's been a big challenge, I think.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, dear students, you can please ask the questions. Anyone? Any student? See, we need to do this research and innovations. We need to come up with startups and everything. That is why we have arranged these 2 webinars simultaneously on the same day. So please make use of it. That is why we people are here.
Yes, guys. Actually, I'll tell you.
Yes, sir.
Many of the
one more question.
Yes.
Sir, how about the internships to the students, like particularly who are interested in this automotive design field?
So you
like if anyhow now engineering student, they have to do the
correct,
because they don't get an idea of startup immediately. So how about how good are the internship chances for them? So how to approach actually?
Okay, you want to approach to industry, or you want to approach yourself and you have to do the internship? How it is?
Sir, it will be like they will be having an idea, so but right away they can't get into the startup. So let it be like an industry, internship in industry. Then they will have an idea of setting up a startup.
Correct. Okay.
So how like what is an
Okay.
What is
it's a nice and tricky question. Good. Okay. I'll try to answer
the way
from
to get
both
some kind of internship so
Yeah,
that they can be absorbed and they can implement it.
Correct. Got it. I got your point. Okay. I'll try to answer from both the ways. Okay. After answering, if you still didn't get it, let me know. Okay. I'll try to answer for your question. Okay. See, first time, can you mute from your side? There is some noise. Okay. Clear. So now, if you guys want to work on an automotive domain, okay, which the company are doing these kind of things, if you are very much enthusiastic about the car, the high level of ECUs, all those things and all, okay, and if you want to do an internship on this domain and all, there are a n number of companies, okay, they are working on this kind of technology, this kind of car to car communication, basically automotive domain. I see, don't confuse with automobile and automotive, please. Okay, because most of the students will get confused with automobile and automotive. When you say automobile, it is a manufacturing of the parts. Okay, when you say automotive domain is something they're working on the technology to develop a intensive product, so that they'll be having a nice solution for the great problems. Okay, so that is the difference between automotive is different and automobile is different. Automobile is totally different. Now, if you guys want to come to this automotive domain, like I have 4 years of solid work experience on the automotive field itself. Okay, and I got to know the problem of you guys, because most of the colleges usually call only TCS, IBM, Infosys. Usually engineering students, still they're passed out, they heard only these kind of companies. Okay, Infosys, TCS, Capgemini, Cognizant, those kind of things and all. See, I'll first of all I'll tell you the difference between these two things. These companies will be a MNC called as IT services. Okay, they used to give a service to other companies. Now, what are the other companies? Now, the other companies is us, automotive domain. See, we developed a ECU, we developed something, and we want some human resource to put into it. So now we call some TCS guys, some Infosys people. Okay, man, I have this project and we are doing on it. Okay, and we need some more engineers to work on this. Now, Infosys, what they'll do is they'll send some engineers to the client part. Client is our customer. Okay, and you guys have to work on this, and you have to help the engineers. Now, this is the basic difference. Now, as an engineer students, you guys don't know the companies which are working on this automotive domain. I wanted to give some examples. For example, Danlaw, DANLAW, Danlaw Inc. Research and Development. Okay, if you guys want to note down somewhere, you can just note down. These are the companies. Actually, they are looking for the intern students, which they can effectively, actively work with engineers. Okay, and they can able to help. Okay, Danlaw Inc. Research and Development, Aptiv, 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 okay, and Vision, and Lear and Savari, and Herman International, and even Cisco is also working for this Videx technology, and CV2X, okay, and Vistion, okay, and ZF. So these are the companies. Actually, they are looking for internships. Why? Because intern students. Why? Because I'll tell you why they're concentrating on intern engineers. Because right now, if they hire an engineer, okay, if they hire an engineer, they have to give their respective salary for the engineers. Now, if they take the intern students, they'll be anyway studying in the 7th and 8th sems. Once they complete in 7th and 8th sems, they will be adhere to the all the standards, all the communication, all the other things, and they can easily turn out to be our engineers. Once they have become engineers, yes, they can easily start up taking the projects, and they can easily do the things. This is how it will work. That's why some of the companies mainly they concentrate on the interns. Now, when you ask the different way, like, sir, then they won't hire any software engineers, then they won't hire any engineers. Yes, they will hire only when they have an experience, some huge experience. Okay, 4 or 5 years of experience, they wanted to hire it. Why? Because they have once they came there, they have to start their projects. They have to immediately take up the action, and they have to do it. Okay, this is one part. If you want to come to a industry side, okay. And when you want to do your own things, startups, some people, they don't want to work with the industries, they have to come up with their own things. Means, as I told you, first you define your problem. Our problem is to define a problem. Our engineer problem is basically defining the problem. They have a lot of time. They can able to see, watch TV. They could able to roam here and there. But finally, they'll say, sir, no time, sir. Only projects, only records, only seminars, these kind of things and all they'll give. But they will fail to define the problem. First, define the problem immediate, then and there. For example, if you're traveling somewhere, if you see the problem, write on somewhere. Okay, then and there. Then you can analyze, then you can think over it. Now, for this problem, what is the solutions that you can come up with? Then you can think up with the boards. Then you can think up with the standards. Okay. Then you consolidate all these things and you develop your program, develop your project. For this, if you want any help, obviously, professors will be allotted for the particular students. You can able to directly, interact with them. What is the solutions that I can get it here? All those things. And even more, you can directly contact with the industry experts, okay, and try to take the inputs from them. So your internship will be ready, and you'll be even more enthusiastic to come to a industry, or you can start with your own startup. Okay, when I say startup, the big mistake that you guys will think is, okay, startup means we should have a very big platform, like we should have a big room, chairs, tables, monitor. Usually you as you guys are still young budding engineers, you guys will think, oh, startup means you have to have this kind of things. Okay, you have to have this. No, not at all. Okay, if you have a problem with a proper solution, then you already done with the startup. That's it, done. Then only thing is you have to work upon it. That's it. You are an entrepreneur now. You already started a startup. Okay, Like that, if you find a different problems, problem number 1, 2, 3, like this, if you keep quoting on this, then you can take any one of the problem and you can define yourself. Yes, internship also you can do by yourself, but you have to do a lot of research in depth, and you have to come up with the solutions, and you have to create the program. When I say program, it is not a C program. Program means the project, thesis work, those kind of things. I think I answered.
Yes, yes. Thank you, sir. Sure, I think the attitude of students should change.
Yes.
Maybe like some of the students are from 6M, so it will help for them, sir. Sure.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you for the information.
Thank you. On the screen, you guys are seeing my mail ID. Okay, you can mail me if you want any technical in-depth details. Okay, or if you want to do some casual talks, okay, about the company to understand, and and I can help help through my surroundings, what I can do best to myself. Okay, this is my WhatsApp number. You can call or WhatsApp, call or phone, or message me or WhatsApp. So whatever the doubts that you have, I can able to clarify you guys. Okay, and I can help you guys also if you are very much interested to work with this kind of technology or with this kind of environment.
Yeah, our chief mentor Satyaran Raju sir is there. Sir,
hello,
please sir. Raju sir. Oh, okay. I think there is an internet issue. Yes, ma'am. You can. Yeah, I think Q&A is over. Please, ma'am, you can continue, Shruti ma'am.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir, for the innovative and informative session.
Thank you.
I now request Mrs. Archana ma'am to present the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Shruti ma'am. It gives me an immense pleasure to propose the vote of thanks. I, on behalf of NCET Internal Quality Assurance Cell and Institutions Innovation Council, take this opportunity to express my deepest gratitude to our Honorable Resource Person, Mr. Sunil Gowda R, for accepting our invitation to be a keynote speaker of today's webinar in spite of his busy schedule. I thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Sir, your presentation is an excellent one, sir.
Thank you so much.
You have clearly explained all the details of autonomous vehicle, car-to-car communication, presented all the material on the new innovation in such a way that everyone can understand, sir. And even you have covered all the points like collaboration of the research work, and you have taken a very good examples also to motivate the students. And you have even given what is the difference between, actually many students who are not knowing, I hope, that is automotive and automobile. That is very, very important, sir.
Thank you.
So nice, sir. A very informative session. So I thank you for sharing your knowledge and experience with us and enlightening all our students to think innovatively. Thank you, sir. Yeah, we are very much fortunate to have you as our speaker today, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I take this opportunity to express my gratitude to our management, who is providing a continuous support in all our activities. I take this opportunity to thank our director, Dr. S.G. Gopalakrishna sir, who is the role of inspiration in all our activities. Thank you, sir. I thank our beloved principal, Dr. Jitendra Natha Mungara sir, for his guidance and constant support in organizing this webinar. Thank you, sir. I extend my heartfelt thanks to Dean IQA, Dr. Mohan Kumar sir, for support and encouragement in all our activities. Thank you, sir. I thank Dean R&D, Dr. Muthukumar sir, for his continuous support in organizing this webinar. Thank you, sir. I extend my heartfelt thanks to all our HODs of various departments for your continuous support. Thank you, sir. I take this opportunity to thank Dr. Yashwant N, the President NCET IIC, who is the instrumental in organizing this webinar. Thank you, Yashwant sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
My heartfelt thanks to Professor Balaji YS, convener NCET IIC, for his continuous support in organizing this webinar. Thank you, Balaji sir.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Yeah, last but not the least, I appreciate and congratulate all dear students who have been benefited from this webinar. Thank you, one and all.
Yes,
Thank you,
thank you.
Archana ma'am.
Over to Shruti ma'am.
Yes, Shruti ma'am.
Thank you, Archana ma'am. All of you, please fill the feedback. It's posted in the chat box in this link, and the e-certificates will be provided in some days. So thank you all for attending this webinar and continuous support for morning session and for the afternoon session. Thank you, one and all.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Sunil sir. So we'll get in touch. I'll just contact you regarding our students. This one, interest. So I'll do that. I'll just contact you later on. Thank you. Thank you very much for taking your giving your inputs to our students. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thanks
Yeah,
a lot.
bye. Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Yeah.